Season 4, Episode 53 of the Paper Thing. Just a mere 16 episodes till we complete this season and move on to the dark territory of Season 5. Today's show is a 4-paper show. We've got the Times, the Telegraph, the Daily Mail and the Sun. We're going to be starting with the Sun because it is a truly cursed paper today. One of its most cursed ones. A deeply, deeply hypocritical front page from a paper that published a number of racially charged stories at best about Raheem Sterling, about Marcus Rashford. That its football coverage over the years has been, pretty racist in one way or another. So yeah, that's today's first paper. Then of course, then we'll move on to the Times. I will attempt to do a speed run through the Telegraph, which is always a insane prospect, and then we will end today's show with the Daily Mail. Hello to E. Blair fan, hello to Chris McRae, hello to another TT viewer. Good to see you all. I was not here yesterday because it was child in the rooms, or kid in the room, depending on which way you prefer. It was her transition day to high school, but it was being done online, so I had to sort that out. Hey, Bazza Benson, good to see you. Evening, Yu-Gi-Oh! Good to see you too. Hello, Yodi Stomach Pump. Okay, we're going to get started. So, yes, I'm sure that you have seen today's Sun front page if you have been on what the BBC is required to call social media. It's been all over there, and with good reason. It is a deeply, deeply hypocritical front page from a newspaper that has been racist in numerous ways over the years, and if you click the trending topic on Twitter, you'll see many examples of the Sun's hypocritical stuff. Hey, Bazza Benson, you've been a busy guy, but you've enjoyed the newsletters. Well, I appreciate you enjoying the newsletters. If you're watching the show and you've not got the newsletter before, it's brokenbottleboy.substack.com, but I will share the link later in the show. Please enjoy today's cursed background. I am coming to you from within a literal hellscape. Good afternoon to you, SK. Good to see the Golden Tonties in the chat. I was out the other day with my jacket on with my Golden Tonty badge on it. Right, so front page of the Sun, we've got your back. Fury at slurs on Three Lions heroes. Wills in PM lead support for aces. And then in the top right-hand corner, Lawless Wembley, F1 ace mug for 40k watch. I would simply not go out with a £40,000 watch on. Baz Benson, thank you for subscribing for 4 months so far. Much appreciated. If you like Baz Benson, have a Prime subscription that you have not yet used on a stream, why not use it on mine or SK's, depending on if you support mine in other ways. Right, moving on through the Sun. So that was the front page. On page 2, Sunak to sneak in and vote today. Rishi Sunak will today spring Tory rebels with a vote over slashing the 14 billion international aid bill to pay for COVID. And who has written this story? Dictated straight into his ear by government spin doctors. Why, it's Harry Bunter Cole. On page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3, we've got Barb's Garbs. Model Barbara Pelvin makes it a bed letter day by posing in Victoria's Secret's pyjamas with the lingerie brand's initials plastered all over them. But it's not all about the comfy bedtime garb for this 27-year-old Hungarian beauty. She's been with actor boyfriend Dylan Sprouse, who played Ben in Friends, amongst other things, for 3 years, and they were seen all glammed up, leaving an event in Los Angeles. Good Lord, what incredible news. At the bottom of page 3, Mary OMG. Here's something that you will have seen on, as the BBC insists on calling it, social media, but which the Sun has just got round to covering. An unopened copy of Nintendo Super Mario 64 video game has just sold for £1.1 million. The 1996 cartridge smashed the previous record for a single game, set just 2 days earlier. The buyer was not revealed, but the auctioneers who sold it claimed that there were fewer than 5 of the sealed cartridges left in such good condition. Super Mario, including other characters such as Luigi and Bowser, was a launch title for the Nintendo 64 console. Yes, enjoy the Boris pick and the tiny, tiny Michael Gove. The record-breaking sale came in Dallas, Texas on Sunday, while a similar Super Mario game made just £9,500. An original Legend of Zelda and NES cartridge has sold for $628,000 to set the record at the same auction on Friday. It is a good game. I don't know if it's £1.1 million worth of good game. On pages 4 and 5, Rash's thanks as nation unites against trolls. Crawl back under your rock. PM and nation slam racist. That is, that's Boris Johnson, who used the racial slur that begins with a C, ends with an N, and has 2 O's in the middle, multiple times in a book that he wrote. Also called women in burqas post boxes, as we remember, and used a wide range of slurs, including calling black people's smiles watermelon smiles. There's a whole and check out his novel, full of racism, both explicit and implicit. They report on the estate agent working for Savills who claims that his Twitter account was hacked. It must have been hacked a long time ago because his account had a string of racist messages stretching back months and months and months. How interesting that he noticed it had just been hacked on the day after racist tweets against an England player had been tweeted by him. Pantomime Horse says, remember, it's only trying if you're not a member of the press, then it's journalism, yeah. Baz Benson, when I think of England, I just think of a smiling black family from adverts. Who doesn't? What? Okay. Tara writes, famously anti-racist nation, says Tara writes. That's what I think of in England. Yeah, of course. Shaka Hislop, ex-West Ham goalie, says, I feared for all three. As they took their penalties, I feared for Marcus Jayden and Bukayo. I was worried that they might be scapegoated if they failed to score because they are black. The abuse they received was awful. Yeah, Shaka, mate, why are you writing in the Sun about it? On pages 6 and 7, drunken drug thugs cause carnage at final. Wembley war zone. F1 ace mugged for 40k watch. Ticketless mob terrorise families. Jesus Christ. Duncan Wright, the senior football reporter for The Sun, says the final was a dangerous experience. Baz Benson says Shaka Hislop is more importantly a former Reading FC player. There we go. On page 8, Jodie Gem heist. Anne Boleyn star targeted at Cannes Festival. Thieves stole more than £8,000 of jewellery from actress Jodie Turner-Smith's hotel room. The Anne Boleyn star, 34, may have been targeted after you've seen wearing the gems at Cannes the night before. I'm going to say that some of that jewellery would have been on loan. But yeah, it also included her mother's wedding ring. That's shit. Ticketless mob is weirdly coded in a lot of ways. Yeah, there's a lot of coded stuff. And whenever they turn to talking about thugs, yobs, etc., the Times, uses the word yobs on the front page today. It's all very, whistly. On page 9, ITV and show risks ban. Love is off the air. Ofcom warns of axe if duty of care fails. Telly channels face being taken off air if Love Island and similar shows fail to look after contestants, a TV watchdog has said. This again reported by The Sun, who hounded Caroline Flack and have hounded many, many other celebrities, some of whom have come to very sad ends. So fuck the Sun with this talk of duty of care. Moving on pages 10 and 11, Boris accused of U-turn despite July 19th go-ahead. Call this freedom? Oh, Jesus Christ, shut up about this. Still wearing masks in closed spaces is a perfectly sensible idea, for fuck's sake. Right, Adrian Childs, our favourite pumpkin-headed soft boy, is back. And he writes, cheer up, it's no time to cry. And he writes some reasons why he thinks we should be cheerful. He says, Christmas is only 165 days away. But of course, Adrian Childs, a man in his 50s, engages in a Christmas countdown over 150 days out from Christmas actually happening. Jesus Christ. Farage's Fuckface, Reasons to be Cheerful by Adrian Childs. Reasons to be Cheerful, part 12. And Kate Jackson writes a list up in the top corner of Adrian Childs' column of reasons we should be grateful, including Freedom Day, the Olympics starting on July 23rd, a heat wave coming, Strictly, Stormzy, Suicide Squad, the Beatles documentary, and England hosting the Women's Euro 2022 next year before the World Cup in Qatar. Hey, Ash Flack from McNulty, glad you like the extremely cursed background. Yu-Gi-Oh said, I've got a pretty good one. Football went to Rome's good enough for me. Fair enough. Yodi Stompom, I always imagine Angel Charles in a little sailor suit with an oversized lollipop because he's a huge simple treat boy. He absolutely is. Dr. Vesti, I hate the name Freedom Day. I hate it so much. I do too. The other thing about Freedom Day is it's a complete creation of the tabloids, and then the tabloids are able to go, this Freedom Day hasn't come. We were promised Freedom Day. You fuckers promised it. You fuckers made it up. And multiple times you've made up this fucking Freedom Day. On page 13, Kendall Jenner went out wearing clothes. Holly Willoughby has lost a battle to extend her £3 million six-bed home. Oh my God, I cry large salty tears for Holly Willoughby and her failure to make her already grotesquely large house bigger. Farage's Fuckface says he imagines Adrian's list of happy things that make him happy is James Bond seeing a pretty girl, a big plate of sausages. Yu-Gi-Oh! The tabloids. You mean Boris's favourite MP? Yeah. Page 15. Clemmy Moody. Our bruises will heal and it will definitely come home in 2022. This is a fucking insane headline when it is a known and provable fact that domestic violence incidents spike on the evening of England games. Our bruises will heal. For fuck's sake. Fuck off. On page 17, these models risk a bit of stick with swimwear made of from tape barely covering their modesty. We live in the year 2021 and the fucking Sun is still talking about covering their modesty. Fuck off. A driver who allegedly filmed himself doing 201 miles per hour in a stolen car has been ordered to court. James Hollett, thought to be Britain's fastest joyrider, is charged with dangerous driving and theft. Oh, fucking hell. On pages 18 and 19, Nick Hall is taking the puss. Fans anger over Scherzi and Tom's year of tandemic vacations. Nicole Scherzinger has apparently been on too many holidays. Who gives a fuck? Dr. Festi, I do not see enough talk coverage of how domestic abuse spikes around major football events. It needs to be taken more seriously. Then I see absolutely bile quips like that. I know, it's fucking insane to me. Page 21, we're going to have a heat wave. And once again, the Sun is doing this thing where it quotes temperatures in fucking Fahrenheit. So we get the headline, 80s revival. Britain on brink of a 2-week heat wave. Britain's going back to the 80s as welcome. 2-week heat wave brings highs of 86 Fahrenheit. The majority, the vast majority, apart from the desiccated remains of Trevor Kavanagh that still write for the Sun, have always lived in a country that used the metric system. These are young people that write for this fucking paper. The Fahrenheit thing is mental. Average temperatures for this time of year are usually around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, they write. In brackets, 21 degrees C. No, we don't, nobody... This is the next thing. They're going to bring back imperial measurements as part of their culture war shit. Dr. Fest, the only reason they use Fahrenheit is the bigger numbers to make people go, wow, yeah. SK the Crusader may as well quote temperatures in Kelvin. I'd find that more amusing at least. In the bizarre column, Rita Ora's got legs. Doja Cat wore a bikini. On page 25, the gall of the wild. Behaving bad is part of animal attraction for this wayward wildlife as they do their best to hassle humans. Photographer Tazzy Brown has snapped a raccoon hanging out in an LA basketball net, an octopus getting in a diver's face off Hawaii, an elephant plunging his trunk in a South African pool, and even a baby orangutan giving the finger in Germany. Uncritical support for all of these, especially basketball hoop raccoon. Dr. Festi, I agree. Animals should hassle people who write for the Sun. Kate Jackson writes a whole page about moths and how you should fight moths. I think Kate Jackson should be forced to fight Mothra. Bella Hadid wore a dress. Fiend's jail move on Warder love note. Love note. Serial killer Joanne Dennehy has moved to a grimmer jail after falling for a prison officer. 38-year-old dubbed Britain's most dangerous female lag. Dubbed that by who? The fucking Sun. This stuff, they go, people are saying it's always fucking you who are saying. The 38-year-old dubbed Britain's most dangerous female lag wrote gushing love letters to the man 58 we revealed last month. She was said to be angry at being yanked out of a cushy Bronzefield women's nick near Ashford, Surrey. She is now 330 miles north at HMP Low Newton near Brasside, County Durham. Source said it's a real step down from Bronzefield, where she was settled. Low Newton is miles from her family and what she knows. She's furious. They're just fucking making this up. Dennehy from St Albans was given a whole life term in 2014 for killing 3 men. She was pictured with a huge blade while on the run. But in June, we told how police discovered her notes in a raid on a serving prison officer's home. He is no longer thought to work at Bronzefield. He remains under police investigation on suspicion of an unrelated sexual assault. So said taking his life into his hands by not immediately reporting Dennehy's advances to bosses. Evil Dennehy murdered Lukasz Zeskil, 30, in 2013 after arranging to meet him for sex. A week later, she stabbed Falklands veteran John Chapman, 56, more than 30 times. The same day, she knifed to death her landlord, Kevin Lee, 48. Judge Mr. Justice Spencer called her a cruel, calculating, and manipulative. There's no fucking cushy prisons. On page 28, bizarre TV show Sexy Beasts. Sexy Beasts' first dates meets The Masked Singer. Well, of course it is. That's what they fucking pitched it as, isn't it? Anyway, various people dressed up in these different outfits so that people have to judge them on their personality. Right. On the front of the goal supplement, Kyle High. He's Jose's number 1. The Euros ended in agony for England, but Jose Mourinho has named Kyle Walker as his player of the tournament. Okay, well, whatever. A student has become one of the highest achievers in the world after scoring the equivalent of 5 A-star A-levels. Scarlett Hughes, 18, got the highest possible score of 45 on her international baccalaureate. Less than 1% of students across Europe achieve it. The Truro College student is now set to study human, social and political sciences at Cambridge University. After that, she hopes to get into law or diplomacy. Okay, fine, grand, whatever. Terry writes, any prisoner guard story is reported on so disgustingly by the papers. Power dynamic means it's not just weird romance or whatever. Yeah, exactly. In the TV stuff, they recommend Lie to Me, Channel 5, and Cooking with the Stars, also Channel 5. In Fab Daily, Tanya Gold writes, abortion is tragic and I should know, but curbing our right to choose is worse. I mean, that's true, but why write it for it in the Sun? Celeb trends that devalue your home in an instant. Apparently things you shouldn't do. Freestanding baths. Having a swimming pool. What? Having a swimming pool puts buyers off. They're finding a multi-million-pound pad, but elsewhere they're a safety risk for young families. Kitchen islands, gold fixtures, pantries. What's wrong with a pantry? In a big house, they're fine, but they can look very untidy, or they look like an apocalypse shelter. Basically, all of these things rich people can have, right? But if you have them, very bad, will reduce the value of your house. If you've got a fucking house of your own anyway. Apparently, traditional open fireplaces will reduce the value of your home. Home gyms will. Just don't do anything that makes you enjoy your house better. Just fucking hell. Right, in the letters, Luke Russell writes, "It was nothing but heartbreak to see England lose in a penalty shootout yet again. So near yet so far. This team deserves so much more and have fought like lions to get so far. They can be proud of their actions both on and off the pitch during Euro 2020. I felt that the anguish and pain that was etched on the faces of the players as though I was with them and knew them personally. That is the success of this team. They have brought us all together in such an amazing way, and I salute them." Right. Okay. Right. Use of weapons comes from a parallel dimension where England won and racism still exists. In the short letters in the Sun today, Willie from Essex writes, "Never mind England, you're all still our heroes and play for one of the world's greatest countries." John Joe says, "Piers Morgan attracts stacks of Ofcom TV complaints, but why should we care that a good presenter expresses his own honest opinions on telly?" Mick, no relation, writes, "I urge Chancellor Rishi Sunak not to U-turn on the pensions, triple lock. Pensioners are contributed all their working life. If you need to save money, Rishi, target foreign aid." Pantomime Horse is correct. Requiring people of colour to be exceptional in order to defeat racism is unhelpful. Yeah, that's understatement. Chronotherm, Britain undoubtedly in the top 200 countries in the world. King92, I wonder what Jonto or whatever his name was views on Ash Sarkar on the telly are. Yeah, imagine that. Use of weapons. Pensions should be liquidated as unproductive skivers don't even work. Lazy fucks. Farage's fuck face. Triple Lock makes it sound like our pensioners are much better than they are. They're also trying to sell you this really ugly electric razor. There is no way that gives you a smooth shave. A really, truly cursed product for you. An American icon. Elvis at 85. To celebrate his 85th birthday, it is a illuminated staircase featuring several different Elvises and then a giant Las Vegas Elvis. Like, why doesn't the largest Elvis, Las Vegas Elvis, simply eat the other Elvises? Kinyu, I used to have a razor like that. It was so awful. I've had a beard for nearly 10 years. Electric razors are dog shit. Who could want the Elvis thing? Elvis Memorial Toilet. I'd buy that. And every time you flush it, it goes, I bet that fucking exists, actually. Why am I saying that? Like, that clearly exists. Farage's fuckface, the only way that Elvis thing could be better is if it was a black velvet painting. That would class it up some. By the way, that is yours for 5 interest-free instalments of £31.99 or a total of £159.95. And in the sport, it's thank you and good night. Nice guy Gareth to be made a sir as returned for summer. Well, if he had any... if he had any guts, which I doubt he does, he would turn it down. He would turn it down because that is just being used by Boris Johnson. Use of weapons. I cannot think of Elvis Memorial stuff without thinking of the day-to-day death row inmate who ate cheeseburgers till he reached Elvis's weight. That is an amazing bit. Right. I'm going to try and speed run through the Telegraph. Give me your estimate of what, or give me a suggestion of how fast I should do it. While I do a quick Roll call and switch the paper image. I hope you're enjoying today's extremely cursed background. Baz Benson rates the Sun mega anti-nice minus 69.69 recurring. Red Tixie says dying on the toilet was probably one of the best things Elvis did. Probably saved some cleaning up. The Royal Flush gives it a fuck the Sun out of 10. Use of weapons also in with the minus 69.96. Red Succeed with a triple negative nice. Dr. Festi with a quadruple negative nice. Pantomime Horse says memorial toilets out of 10. And Chronotherm with a minus 59 years of hurt and several thousand racist incidents. Sorry, my hay fever is fucking horrible today. I am the Broken Bottle Boy, of course. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. In the mod squad, we've got SK the Crusader. Also here, Academy Impossible, another TT viewer, Ash Flaps McNulty, Bad Motivator, Bazza Benson, Chris McRae, Dr. Festi, E. Blair Fan, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Farage's Fuck Face, Jerry Byrne, Kinyu92, Chronotherm, Logen09, Red Tick Seed, Ronnie Rosenthal, Scoop Dreams, Studying Fangirl, hey, Studying Fangirl, Torms, Teo writes, the Royal Flush, Use of Weapons, V and K, and Virgo Pros. As well as Yodi Stomach Pump and Zippish Habit. Okay, right. Hay fever wouldn't exist if England had won the Penos. Hay fever or allergy of the sun, both as likely. Yeah, this is true. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try and do the Daily Telegraph in 2 minutes flat, which is going to be difficult because it's so large and unwieldy. But here we go. Unlike the bottom mushroom penis of the man outside PC World in Wembley. Right, here we go. Hey Google, set timer for 2 minutes.
All right, 2 minutes.
Right, front page of the Daily Telegraph. Following England is hell, but here are 11 ways the heartbroken get over it, says Hunter Davis. Right, did you set the timer? The Daily Telegraph, Johnson urges use of vaccine passports. People to be told which exam questions will come up. Foreign aid and double lock to quell Tory rebellion over spending. Sherelle Jacobs is staring out from the cover saying Johnson has condemned us to COVID no man's land. Inside, church to apologise for medieval expulsion of Jews. Actress has jewellery stolen during burglary at Cannes Hotel. Dominic Cummings has been accused of breaching rules on paid work over his Substack. England star accuses Home Secretary of stoking the fire of racism. Alison Pearson says this team showed us the life lived to the full. For that we owe them thanks. She has nothing to do with the England team. Stick with face masks and working from home. PM urges. Goes test and release was a trial. Was it just? High intensity workouts have been outlawed in South Korea. Macron has warned vaccination may become mandatory. Renaissance Master's thumbprint may be a wax buttock. V&A suspects mark on a 500-year-old figurine was made by Michelangelo. Teenager's ambition goes distance in solo flight around the globe. Biden backs Cuban clarion call for freedom. Really? A diptych of David Bowie designed for the 1980 album Scary Monsters Super Creeps has sold for $75,000 or will sell for that, they think. British teacher denied freedom by Kuwait family. Woman who won appeal over drugs charges asked for help from government to free her. I wouldn't expect much from the Boris Johnson government. Andrea Leadsom says compromise on foreign aid will show Britain's true leadership. Really? BBC has shown that it just doesn't get it, says Robert Aitken. Always slagging off the BBC. Boris Johnson has condemned us permanent COVID no man's land, says Sherelle Jacobs. Charles Moore says Wembley 2021, what can we learn from 1966? Oh, that we should shut the fuck up about it. Hunter Davis says I waited 55 years for nothing. If I can get over it, so can you. Hey Google, stop. Right, couldn't do it in 2 minutes, but I reckon I can do it in 2.5. I only forget the things that don't interest me, says Sandy Toxvig. Celia Walden says about time we get deadly serious about flashes. This from a woman married to Piers Morgan, who effectively does a metaphorical flashing of any young woman in the public eye who does something he doesn't like. The Telegraph have got a cookbook out about barbecuing. And there's a thing about billionaire space race. Adrian Lester says, why bring up race when it isn't relevant? He talks to Claire Alfred about getting casting right and misunderstanding Shakespeare. The French Dispatch, the new Wes Anderson film, gets 5 stars from Robbie Collin at Cannes. And in the obits, Jonathan Coleman, the radio presenter, has died. And Esther Bejarano, survivor of Auschwitz Women's Orchestra, who later used music to educate German youth. And Gillian Sheen, dentist who became Britain's only Olympic fencing champion. And that is it. That is the Telegraph. Hunter Davis is a man at a time. We've evolved past the need for the Telegraph, says use of weapons. Tyrone Comrade Ming strikes again. Love him. Tyrone Mings is a hero. Yeah. Bit late on the church apology. Agree. The Royal Flush. That was a lot of mentions of foreign aid. Yeah. Critical support and solidarity for the man who took a load of drugs that shrink your cock and just went with it. I'm pretty sure we've evolved past the point of needing broadsheets. Yeah. Yes, agreed on all of that. Right, that was the Telegraph. Jonathan Conto Contman, as Bessa Benson says. Right, now we're going to move on to the Times, and then we will come, finally, inevitably, as we often do, to the Daily Mail. Am I saving the papers to make an epic papier-mâché thing? What I tend to do is I take the front pages off them and save those, but I recycle the other papers. Otherwise, person in the room would lose her mind with the amount of papers that would build up in the house, given that we have between 3, 4, and 5 on some days. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. Here's the Times. Front page of the Times. Give us a smile. 10 reasons to be cheerful. This is the thing that they're going to give us now. We have to be fucking cheerful, even as case rates rise. On the right-hand side, is your oat milk healthy? Fuck knows. The main story, thousands in hospital each day if UK is hasty. Bid for normality could see 4,800 daily admissions. Fuck. And on the right-hand side, tech giants told to hand over details of football racist. Great, good, fine. This is more of the government implying that the biggest problem in society is anonymity in social media and not, in fact, the racist that we can identify in the fucking government and all through Parliament and the Lords. Use of weapons is not cheerful. England lost and I shall never know happiness again. On the bottom of the Times front page, ministers offer Tory rebels vote on foreign aid spending. It's called a bribe. Toxic positivity. Yes, indeed. Agreed, Stonefanger. Use of weapons. Facebook has no anonymity and it's full of racists. Yeah. On page 3, fingerprint points to Golden Boy of the Renaissance. Discovery on a wax model by Michelangelo may let doubts over its authenticity fade away. On the bottom of page 3, Rick and Ilsa do not spend the first reel of Casablanca slowly getting to know one another, and Romeo and Juliet's encounter at a Mars ball was not the culmination of a long friendship. But the cultural trope of romance's beginning as a spark between strangers is misleading, according to research suggests 2/3 of us get together with our friends. Yeah, turns out that you have to compress romances in fiction in order to make them entertaining. Fuck off. We overpaid, admit half of home buyers in the pandemic. Boo-hoo. Pages 4 and 5. Southgate says racist abuse of 3 lines is unforgivable. Yes. Player hits back at Patel over protest comments. We are a Tyrone Ming support stream here. Fucking A. Good work, him. Use of weapons. Romance doesn't just happen. Fuck, that's my chances with the girl at my corner shop over. Chronotherms. The Savile guy had his full name and face on his Twitter profile and he still used the N-word. Yeah, Dr. Festy, if UK is hasty. You mean they think the UK hasn't been hasty already? Yeah, exactly. Dr. Festy, romance and TV movies is skewed as fuck. Yeah, and massively toxic in all sorts of ways. But, like, you know, narrative doesn't work the same as real life, turns out, because you have to compress things. Otherwise, all films would be 40 hours long, at a minimum. Have we discussed the Andrew Lol Cow Mings response? We have not, although I have covered it in today's newsletter, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. He is truly an endless stream of shit takes and racist takes at that. Yaldi Storm Pump, if anything, Das Boot is too short and not gay enough. Exactly. Use of weapons. Anna Karenina is reasonably accurate for relationships, and that book is massive as fuck. Yeah. No day off, but PM looks for way to thank team. You mean PM looks for a way to exploit the team? Why you can't teach a young wolf new tricks? Your Labradoodle may not be able to navigate the steppes of Siberia. Chihuahua may not be able to organise a pack hunt to take on an elk. That doesn't mean domestic dogs are stupid. They just have a different skill set. Yeah, okay, we know that. Anyway, nice picture of some wolves. It's nuts to pick almond milk over dairy, says Country File Star. I'll give a fuck. Eating yogurt can help fight arthritis and diabetes, or at least that's what they're telling us this week. Next week it'll be that they're very bad and you shouldn't do that. Use of weapons. Hope Mings just does Boris in when the team meet the PM in a Minecraft simulation. Top of page 9. Military's low rape convictions prompt call for civilian trials. Yeah, no shit. Military trials are often fucking even more fucked up than civil trials. On the bottom of page 9, AI will have bigger impact than fire, claims Sundar Pichai, the Google boss, in an interview with Amal fucking Rajan. On pages 10 and 11, this pandemic is not over. We cannot go back to normal life. Is the way they talk about Boris Johnson's statement. Yesterday, hospital chiefs angry after losing promised cash to cut care wait. This government doesn't give a fuck. Macron takes hard line on vaccine hesitancy, warning about inoculation. But Macron loves to take a hard line. Number 10 supports ex-aide accused of blocking BBC appointment. If you want to know more about this story and how really fucked up it is, brokenbottleboy.substack.com, the link I just shared there. Read today's newsletter, share today's newsletter. Help me get more people to subscribe to the newsletter. It's growing nicely and I really appreciate your support with it. On page 15, co-stars have had to cope with my OCD, admits Ben Miller. Ben Miller's co-stars have been put up for years with an obsessive compulsive disorder that the actor has sought professional help for, he has revealed. I hate revealed. Talked about. Revealed suggests he has something to be ashamed of. Revealed is a fucked up word that newspapers use and they've got to fucking stop using it. Will they fuckers like? Depressed Nicky Campbell lay in bed for days after Antichrist died. The presenter Nicky Campbell said he spent 2 days in bed with depression after being called evil and the Antichrist by the satirist and writer Charlie Brooker. Campbell, 60, presents BBC Radio 5 live show. Breakfast show has been a regular target for Brooker, who began lampooning the presenter about 20 years ago as part of his TV Go Home website, which parodied the Radio Times. He also mentioned Campbell regularly in columns in The Guardian, in his satirical Screenwipe TV series, and in his You Have Been Watching panel show. Brooker, 50, who's known for his acerbic and dark sense of humour, wrote in one newspaper column in 2004 that Campbell might be the most evil man in the universe, adding, "There's no evidence to support this, but come on, there's just something about him, isn't there?" 2006 episode of Screenwipe featured a biography of Campbell overlaid with satanic imagery. Brooker also said about Campbell in the 2009 episode of You Have Been Watching, according to the Guinness Book of Records, he is the world's biggest arsehole, the smuggest prick, and the smarmiest tit, and the shittest berg, and the somberest wank, and the littlest hobo, and you know what? Fuck it, I just don't like the man, it's that simple. He added, "I really hope I don't bump into Nicky Campbell now." Nicky Campbell is understood to have seen the episode and said, "I suffer from terrible depression since I can remember, probably since I was a teenager, and I have bipolar disorder type 2. I think that Charlie Brooker became slightly, I don't know, he gave me some terrible reviews and thought that there was something unsettling about me, and he sort of focused on me. It just really took against me." Campbell said that he admired Brooker's writing, but he was at a really low ebb at the time, and had text on it, and he received a text saying, "Charlie Brooker really gave you the full treatment last night. I thought, what's that? I went home and watched it. It was a kind of comedy show, and he just laid into me. He had a string of insults that really hit me, kind of, he's right, I don't deserve to be here, and he's rumbled me, he's got me. He's pointing the finger, and everyone's laughing. He was in bed for 2 days after watching the show," he added, "sent me to a really, really low ebb." Brooker wrote in a 2010 column on stepping down as Guardian TV reviewer that he was never a proper critic, adding, "I was horrible. Without a hint of irony, I announced that Nicky Campbell exuded the menace of a serial killer." Brooker could not be reached for comment yesterday. Brooker was one of the many, very many ostensibly left-wing comedians who showed their entire ass over the period 2016 to 2019. Dr. Festi, sometimes I feel a very sensible, well-written letter to the Lancet which said lifting restrictions was irresponsible would have had more effect if it was wrapped around a brick and yeeted through the window of number 10. Yeah, this is absolutely lib-on-lib violence. Lady Baskis says, yeah, because the horrors of dairy industry are totally worth a fucking taste sensation. Kinu92, I don't know anything about Nicky Campbell. I thought he was talking about Alistair Campbell, who is all those things. Yeah, no, he's just talking about Nicky Campbell. Nicky Campbell, who is just a sort of bland, largely inoffensive presenter, which is sort of why Brooker decided to say, oh, he really annoys me, because the humour, I guess, was in the fact that Nicky Campbell is kind of the least satanic figure you could think of. On page 17, headline on the Times' coverage about the Church's oppression of Jews in the 13th century is Church repents for anti-Semitism in the 13th century. What about now? Here's an excellent picture of a male kestrel running along. He looks like he will fuck you up. On page 19, vengeful stalker branded victim a rapist after one-night stand. A stalker who tried to destroy a musician's life after they had a one-night stand has been jailed for 3 years. Okay, this is appalling. But rape conviction rates are extremely low. Reporting rates for rape are extremely low. And the way they write stories like this, implying that false accusations of rape are much more common than they really are, is a dangerous thing. And they give this such a lot of space for it. They don't frame it as this is an unusual thing to happen. This doesn't happen very often. They just frame it as this guy being falsely accused, which he was, but without context. Because context is the thing that the British press is most allergic to. A woman who brought a second-hand box of The Sopranos got a surprise when she tried to put on the first DVD. Paula Weiler, who had picked up the series from a charity shop in New York, found herself watching not the American crime drama, but a Scottish couple's wedding video. Rather than Tony Soprano trying to manage the New Jersey mob, she watched Polly and Ross Ramsey from Edinburgh getting married in Mexico. Weller took it upon herself to find the Ramseys through Facebook, a task made harder by Ramsey using Polly on social media, but Pauline at her wedding. Weller, who is from Brazil but moved to York 2 years ago, sent a message saying that she'd found the DVD and wanted to return it. Last week, I bought a Soprano, blah, blah, blah. They've reunited them with their wedding DVD anyway. Use of weapons. 8 context, love racism, simple as. Pantomime Horse. David Graeber called so much ahead of time. It's remarkable what an understanding of structural power does. Agreed. The French Dispatch gets a good review in the Times. They love Wes Anderson films. 5 stars from Ed Potton. Young girl disfigured by silent electric bike. A 5-year-old girl has been scarred for life and may need cosmetic surgery after she was hit and dragged along the road by a man on an electric dirt bike. Emily Hill needed 24 stitches in her scalp after the incident in Cayley, West Yorkshire, and may require surgery to graft hair follicles onto the injured area of her head. Emily and her brother Charlie, 3, were being picked up from their aunt's house on a cul-de-sac in the town shortly after 6 p.m. on June 11th when a 22-year-old man allegedly drove a near-silent electric dirt bike off a footpath and through a set of bollards and hit her. Spokesman for the police said a 22-year-old man has been reported for offences related to the condition. To the collision in Cooley on June the 11th, 2021. Inquiries into the incident are continuing. Use of weapons. Ban bikes. Walk on your feet like God intended. Wheel transport satanic. William Hague argues that everyone should get back in the office. As if he fucking has to go into an office. Fuck off. Fuck off, you boiled egg. Giles Corran compares himself to Hemingway. So let's not even bother with that. Hugo Rifkin says smartphones magnify the significance of events. It's just the world is getting worse when the opposite is true. Easy to fucking say that when you are a columnist for a national newspaper paid very large amounts of money to push establishment lines. Fucking, I hate this shit. They always argue, the world, it's getting better. For many people, it is not getting better. For many people, it's getting much, much fucking worse. Look at the way the gap between the most rich and the most poor just continues to grow. This thing, the world's objectively getting better, is a liberal delusion created by very careful use of statistics to distort the real picture. Farage's Fuckface says, I know one way I'd like Corin to emulate Hemingway. SK the Crusader says, I will simply point at the atmospheric concentration of CO2. Dr. Festy feels like toxic positivity again, but with cherry-picked numbers. Bingo. All right, do you know what? I'm going to fucking read what Giles Corin has written here with the Hemingway thing. The new Hemingway documentary series on BBC4 has reawakened my youthful Hemingway complex, big time. For years I worried that if I didn't take part in 2 world wars, shoot big game in Africa, deep sea fish off Cuba, have 4 families and follow the bullfights around Spain, then I would never really be a man, let alone a writer. Well, you're barely a man and you're not a fucking writer. But well, he's only writer in job title alone. But my only wife has told me not to worry. According to the doc, whatever else Ernest was doing, he was always spent the morning at his desk writing. So literally half your life is exactly the same as his, she explained. It's just that in the afternoons, instead of killing things, you play a bit of tennis, do the school run, and have a little snooze. Which is exactly what Hemingway would have done if only he'd known how much happier it would make him. Oh, fuck off. Giles Corin has a Hemingway complex. Why does it not surprise me in the slightest? All the worst men are obsessed with fucking Hemingway. Right, the birthdays today. It's Harrison Ford's birthday, he's 79. Leanne Benjamin, the principal dancer with the Royal Ballet until 2013, is 57. Sir James Bevan, the chief executive of the Environment Agency, is 62. Cameron Crowe, the filmmaker, is 64. Charlotte Dujardin, the dressage rider and 3-time Olympic gold medalist, is 36. Katie Gozer, the chief executive of the Kids Disabled Children's Charity and then Women's Aid until 2019, is the electoral reform and the boss of the Electoral Reform Society until 2017. Is 51. Martin Gilbert, chairman of Revolut Financial Asset Company, co-founder of Aberdeen Asset Management, is 66. Larry Gomez, the cricketer for the West Indies, is 68. Matthew Hart, dancer and choreographer, is 49. Ian Hislop is 61. Sharon Horgan is 51. Peter Kindersley, the publisher and co-founder of Dorling and Kindersley, is 80. Tej Lalvani, the chief executive of Vitabiotics Vitamins Company and a dragon on the Dragon's Den, is 47. Julia Longbottom, the UK ambassador to Japan, is 58. Ian Lush, the chief executive of the Imperial Health Charity, is 61. Khalid Mahmood, the Labour MP for Birmingham Perry Barr and Shadow Defence Minister until May 2021, is 60. Roger McGuinn, the musician and frontman of The Byrds, is 79. Sir Nicholas Mostyn, the High Court judge, is 64. David Nussbaum, the chief executive of The Elders, the Foundation of Global Leaders and former head of WWF UK until 2016, is 63. Professor Sir Gillian Prance, plant taxonomist and scientific director of the Eden Project until 2013, is 84. Michael Roney, the chairman Next and Grafton Group, is 67. Erno Rubik, inventor of the Rubik's Cube, is 77. Michael Spinks, boxer, former world light heavyweight and heavyweight champion, is 65. Sir Patrick Stewart, special happy birthday to him, is 81. And Diana Vishneva, the prima ballerina and principal dancer in the Mariinsky Ballet, is 45. On this day in 1930, FIFA's first World Cup tournament began in Montevideo, Uruguay, and on July 30th was won by the host nation. The last word in this column today goes to Pete Seeger from a 2014 interview. He said, the key to the future of the world is finding the optimistic stories and letting them be known. Ian Lush is a man who gets day drunk at Spoons. Red Tick Seed is annoyed that Corin likes Hemingway. Dr. Fessy is annoyed that Corin exists. Moving on. World news. Cubans have finally risen up against the regime, says Biden. US warns China that it will fight for Philippines. Fucking hell. Saint-Emilion's image has turned sour for us, complains a top chateau. Lord Rothermere is planning to take the Daily Mail private. I wish he'd take it so private they didn't fucking publish an edition. On the front page of the Times too. More toxic positivity. We lost, get over it. 10 reasons to be cheerful. Fuck off! Patrick Hoskin, oh, I don't care about that. Sparks flying battle of green energy providers over £56 million buyout bid. Two of Britain's best-known green energy providers are gearing up for a takeover battle after Ecotricity made a £56.6 million approach for its longtime rival, Good Energy. In the obits, John O'Coleman, Lynn Reid, pathologist renowned for her research into respiratory diseases and her resolve to make medicine a level playing field for women, has died. She was 97. And Group Captain Harold Walmsley, Spitfire ace, he destroyed at least 11 enemy aircraft and was awarded the DFC in Bar as well as the Belgian Croix de Guerre. He has died at age 98. He was shot down by friendly fire, bailed out and landed in a tree, and a medical report was fudged after it emerged he was colourblind to allow him to keep flying. Why is he taking it private, I wonder? Well, it's quite complicated, but it involves selling some of the Daily Mail Group's other holdings, such as in the insurance business and whatever, and moving the Mail Group into his private sort of preserve. Basically, in the end, it'll grow his riches even more. And in the sport, Wembley Yobs target England stars' families. Jones maybe with Lions by weekend. That's Alan Wynne-Jones. And Southgate wanted penalties next time. He must be bolder, says Henry Winter. I don't think he fucking wanted penalties. Fuck off. Right, that was the Times. Give me your scores for that. Ugh! I'm finding them very distressing today. Maybe having a day off has made me more annoyed than usual. Southgate fucked the pens and subs in that game, says UC Weapons. Yeah, very arguable, but in the end, I think he did very well to get us to the final, and hopefully he won't fuck the World Cup, and no manager is perfect. Kin92 gives the Times the quintuple negative nice. Use of weapons gives it minus 100 trillion. And Dr. Festian with the classic negative nice. And now we come to the final paper of the day. Why, yes, it is the Daily Mail. Yeah, Dr. Festian, I do hope you've got something nice gentle planned after this, Mick. These papers are indeed particularly distressing. I'm thinking I might go for a pint before I have to pick up the child from school. Daily Mail, Euros the fallout. Southgate and William back England stars as race storm erupts after thugs shame. Is it goodbye to World Cup bid? Who gives a fuck? And the main story, freedom, but for how long? Well, not very long if you fuckers won't wear masks or take sensible precautions. Inside, of course, they cover the story of the stolen jewellery at Cannes. Attack on the Doommongers. On pages 4 and 5, Wembley carnage fury. This is about as Daily Mail as a headline as you can get. As trio of missed penalties face vile abuse, England star blasts Patel for stoking fire in racism storm. On page 9, how Gareth became a Goliath. He began as a stopgap England boss with a touch of Alan Partridge, but his combination of toughness, integrity, empathy, and drive forged a new kind of patriotism. Fuck new kind of patriotism. Can't we just enjoy the fucking football without you cunts making it about fucking patriotism all the time? Use of Weapons says Romania, Serbia, Bulgaria bidding for a World Cup 2030, and I want Chaos Balkans World Cup. It'll be great. Chronotherm, I mean, I'd like a World Cup in Britain. I mean, I would, in a way, I would, but on another way, no. So why do England keep losing penalty shootouts, writes Bradley Bush, a registered psychologist and the director of Inner Drive. Why don't we ask a fucking footballer? On page 11, TV Brooker's insults put me in a spiral of depression, reveals Nikki Campbell. That's that story again. Return of the Sage Doom Brigade. Gloom Brigade is what they say about scientists just saying, we may be not taking the right moves here. Ping-demic pandemonium. Chaos at airports and on the railways as key workers are ordered to go into self-isolation by controversial app. Around the world in 44 days, age 18. This guy's got to be a rich kid, hasn't he? You've got to be a rich kid to fly around the world in one day. And his return home to Ibston, Buckinghamshire, his family celebrated by taking him for a slap-up meal at a chicken rest at Nando's to fatten him up because he lost weight. He's studying his A-levels in media politics and history at Great Marlow School, Buckinghamshire. Smart motorways murder drivers is the sensible headline from the Daily Mail. I mean, it's true they are extremely dangerous, but fucking hell, imagine that. Robert Hardman writes, football's coming home in 2030. Not if the yobs who tarnish this tournament have anything to do with it. Oh, Jesus. On page 21, as two cities say you can't remove seagull nests from your home without proof they're damaging your health, why I hate the devilish gulls that flooded my house. This is the most Daily Mail thing ever. Look at this. Richard Littlejohn says, the party's over, now get back to work. Richard Littlejohn, who hasn't done a fucking day's work in decades. Richard Littlejohn, whose work is writing a fucking column. Fuck off. Mini mom or dad's double. Thing about whether celebrity children look like their mum or their dad. I mean, why? Just fuck, what? Just piss off. Pantomime horses, Priti Patel tarnished the tournament. On page 39, grieving mother killed herself to be with dead son. Another day, another opportunity for the Daily Mail to not follow the most basic guidelines on reporting on when people take their own life. One of the key rules, one of the key things you should never do is attribute someone taking their own life to one reason. Never do that. Never fucking do that. This stuff is insidious and appallingly done. My crusade to teach Britain's children about the heroes of history, writes Dominic Sambrook. Oh, fuck off. And who are the heroes of history? It's mostly white people. And the Daily Mail are going to have pullouts of history from his books for the rest of the week. Ugh. On this day, July 13th, 2021, from the Daily Mail archive, July 13th, 1985, the Russians will join the rest of the world in rocking around the clock today. Viewing figures leapt past the 1.5 billion mark with the last-minute decision by the Soviet Union to take 16 hours of coverage of the Live Aid concerts at Wembley and Philadelphia, joining 160 other countries for the satellite link-up to raise money for famine relief in Africa. July 13th, 1987, scientists in Northern Ireland have grown the world's first test tube potato. They're trying to succeed where nature cannot by producing a spot with a better shape, shallower eyes, tougher resistance to disease, and the ability to produce more tubers per plant. So far, 32 test tube plants are said to be showing promise. Happy birthday to Didi Khan, 70. The US actress born Edith Bernstein made her name as pink-haired Frenchie in Greece. She's still friends with co-star Olivia Newton-John, who, whenever she plays Las Vegas, pulls Khan onto stage to sing Summer Nights. 2018, at age 67, she became the oldest ever contestant to take part on ITV's Dancing on the Ice. Dancing on Ice. Born on this day, Eric Portman, the actor from Halifax, was born in 1901. He was one of the biggest British film stars of the 1940s and 50s. He appeared in The 49th Parallel and The Colditz Story and was such a stalwart of the West End and Broadway that he became known as Long Run Eric. Also born on this day, Robert Forster, the US actor, starred opposite Marlon Brando and Elizabeth Taylor in Reflections in a Golden Eye. On July 13th in 1954, the Mexican painter Frida Kahlo died, aged 47, and in 1962, Conservative Prime Minister Harold Macmillan reshuffled his cabinet, sacking 7 ministers in what became known as the Night of the Long Knives. The quote of the day comes from Jeremy Paxman. The English approach to ideas is not to kill them, but to let them die of neglect. Joke of the day. What do you call a multi-story pig pen? A skyscraper. Princess Diana's nieces, who were only 5 when she died, are cashing in on her memory. Tom Cruise wore a suit and walked about a bit. Is there a diet pill or jab that can help you lose weight safely? I guess maybe. Michael Rosen, how a tube the width of a hair saved Michael Rosen's eyesight. Well, I'm glad it did. Chewing gum that's good for your tongue, various vitamins and stuff. The good health experiment. Wait, Princess Diana's dead? When did that happen since you used your weapons? The bit will never die. The bit will never die. Pick of the day in the TV is Cooking with the Stars. In the TV reviews, Lie With Me got 4 stars, while Amal Rajan reviews Sundar Pichai gets 2 stars. In the cartoons, Garfield and John are just hanging out. In Chloe and Chloe and her friend are drinking and talking about men. And in Fred Bassett, he's hungry and he says he's hungry all the time because he's a dog. In the straight to the point letters, Stuart Miller of Swanley, Kent writes, let's put football into perspective. England lost the final. Denmark's Christian Eriksen is still alive. John Gilbert of Norfolk. Oh, God, don't let me down, John. You're going to let me down, John. You've written into the Daily Mail. Of course you're going to let me down. Besides yellow and red cards, should referees be able to give out equity cards? Fuck off. Peter Rickaby says, Baroness Dido Harding, the former head of NHS Test and Trace, has the brass neck to call it a success. I shudder to imagine what she considers to be a failure. Andrew Whittle says, the government should remember if it is the older generation that takes the trouble to vote. So changing the rules on the state pension triple lock and not sorting out the social care system, which were manifesto promises, will not be forgotten. M. Southton writes, I don't blame GPs for wanting virtual triage because they can then weed out those with a scratch or a headache who don't really need a face-to-face appointment. Ray Newcomb says, a question of sports, Sue Barker and her 2 captains, Matt Dawson and Phil Tufnell, had a vast knowledge of sport and made of viewing a joy. Why change such a winning trio? And Gene Cooper says, so a professor says we are eating chocolate biscuits the wrong way. I think the only way to eat one is after it has been dipped in tea. Oh, Jesus. Today's recipe is seafood spaghetti. They're trying to get you to go on cruises. They're trying to get you to buy ugly clothes. They kind of get you to buy things that fix your feet. Chairs that throw you out of them. Ugly socks, £35 for a pack of 7 pairs. They say ministers must stand up for British business. What that means is a picture. Oh, God, okay. And on the back page, in the sport, England players' families flee yobs. And Southgate says, I won't overstay my welcome. That has been today's episode of The Paper Thing with me, the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy, and you can join the Discord if you want. I recommend it. I'll give you the link to that in a minute. Now I'll just do the roll call. In the mod score today has been SK the Crusader. He has had a string of really good streams recently. I've been catching up on some of those on video on demand. I'm sure he will tell you when he's next on stream later in the week. Elsewhere in the chat today, Academy Impossible, another TT viewer, Arid Tracks, Aiton, Bad Motivator, Bazza Benson, Chris McRae, Clara Bow 82, Commander Root, Dr. Festi, Farage's Fuck Face, Frugulus, Jerry Burn, Joan Cabardo, Kinyu 92, Chronotherm, Lady Baskers, Logeno 9, Pac-Man Scratch Card, Pantomime Horse, Red Tick Seed, Ronnie Rosenthal, Scoop Dreams, Studying Fangirl, Torms, Teo Wrights, The Royal Flush, Use of Weapons, VNK, Virgo Pros, Yodi Stomach Pump, Yuan, Zippish Avit, Zoutar. Thank you all for being here. If you want to appreciate some of Studying Fangirl's excellent stream artwork, which regularly pops up in the Discord, you should join the Discord, and I will now give you the link to it, because otherwise it would be a cruel thing to mention. There is the link to the Discord, and if you have not checked out the newsletter, you can do so for free, and I'd really appreciate it. Substack, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. Today's newsletter is about the government interfering with BBC recruitment and Andrew Lillico's fucked up attitude to Tyrone Mings. I think that you'll enjoy it, and I appreciate it if you share it. Thank you, Baz Benson. I'm glad you thought it was a good one. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more show, more papers, maybe a magazine. I have actually got some magazines ready to do reviews on, but the fucked upness of the papers keeps demanding a full slate of papers. But let's try and have a magazine review at least in the Friday edition. All right, see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. In the meantime, catch me on Twitter, catch me on Discord, and if you came in late for this show, it's up as a VOD when this stream finishes, and there will be it'll be up on YouTube as well. Cheers. Bye-bye. And if you're by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Bye-bye.